Sorry segment tonight, perhaps the most controversial rock star in the country is 65-year-old Ted Nugent. Big gun guy, he has sold more than 40 million albums and knows pretty much everybody in the rock world. But sometimes Nugent's politics can make things a bit dicey. So your place in the music world, you know, most of them are avowed liberal people. Yeah. How do they treat you?
They treat me wonderfully. You know, there's been some real friction over the years. In fact, some artists, I use the name generously, have actually dedicated their albums to their family and friends and then had a big F you, Ted Nugent, on their record. But they've come around. I guess they put down the dope temporarily, and they've realized that I'm just a Detroit guitar player who stands up for the right thing. The love fest is indescribable. I have great friends. I've been doing this for over 50 years.
Sold 40 million records. The bona fides are there in the music industry. McCartney, have you ever run across him?
No, but here's a great McCartney story. This crystallizes the whole thing. So Paul McCartney was being interviewed in Detroit many years ago with his new band On the Run. And of course, where would any of our quality of life be without the Beatles? And the incredible gifts of Paul McCartney. And so Paul's doing an interview in Detroit where, I'm God, by the way. I was just voted the #1 guitarist of all times in Detroit. And Paul was giving an interview, and the interviewer asked him, so what do you think of our Motor City madman, Ted Nugent? And he went into this tirade of how I'm a coward because I slaughter innocent animals that can't shoot back.
Well, he's a vegan and a serious vegan.
And so they called me to respond, and because they thought, we'll get Ted going here on this one.
Right.
And so Paul condemned me and said I never had a good musical idea in my life, and it was just really hateful. And they asked me what my response was, and I go, well, there's only one response I can give to Paul McCartney. Thank you, Paul, for enriching our lives with the greatest music, the soundtrack.
Good for you.
And I said, if he wants tofu, I'll shoot him some tofu. I have no problem.
You don't have, Ted, you don't have to shoot tofu. No, it's just
well, it's more fun if you do.
Well, I guess. Rap, Jay-Z, huge, right? Jay-Z.
This ain't politically correct. This might offend my political connects.
The rap thing has almost taken over the music industry, and you say?
Well, have a nice day with that, but I come from the original Soul Brothers, the James Browns, the Wilson Pickett, right. Sam and Dave, Bo Diddley. Who do you love? These guys just reeked of an American, defiant, celebratory, be the best that you can be, practice as hard as possible, and deliver the best music possible. So that was the inspiration for all my fellow musicians, even to this day. I don't get the rap thing, which is fascinating because my son Rocco does kind of a spiritual rap or hip-hop type thing.
By myself from one deep, I'll be fine alone, fine alone.
Which I cringed at first, but I also support my son in his own musical vision and his own musical dreams.
Right.
So I don't get that music. If I want funky and I want driving rhythms, I'll go to James Brown or this new guy, Bruno Mars.
I'll go to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Do you remember when it first started September?
All right, last question. You're anti-drug, all right?
Hardcore.
Hardcore anti-drug, so am I, as you know. What about this legalization of marijuana thing? What do you think of that?
I'll try to capsulize it. Would you want your pilot high? Would you want your butcher high? Who would you want to be high in your life? And after 50 years of rock and rolling, holding my gifted musicians in my arms as they died, you can't convince me that it's a victimless crime or it's an individual choice. You've clearly identified that you get high to disconnect.
Right.
What are the benefits to disconnecting? I disconnect, but I do it in a tree stand with a sharp stick, so I'm at least getting meat when I get high.
There's a purpose.
There's a purpose.
All right, Ted Nugent, everybody, one of a kind.